All right. Welcome everybody to today's session. This is the fourth unit of robotics and environmental sciences. We only have a few small house rules for today. We'd like to ask everyone to please mute your cameras to save data and bandwidth. Also to mute your microphones, keep all the background noise to a minimum. If anybody has a question at any point in time, please feel free to raise your hand. And we are looking forward to a very interactive session. Then I'll hand over to my colleague, Mr. Untitled. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Meneer Johannes. Welcome everyone to ISET Robotics and Environmental Sciences Live Online Learning Unit 4. Today we'll be introducing, or rather talking about the introduction to the future of robotics and environmental sciences. I'm your host, Dumelo Nhlapo. Behind the scenes, we've got Dr. Gous, Kabelo Per, Anzanis Via, as well as Meneer Gaspar Johannes. So on Monday, we touched on the first unit, which was Introduction to Robotics and the Environmental Calendar, where I spoke about the importance of the environmental calendar. And then Tuesday, it was Introduction to Robotics and the My 2050 Environmental Calendar. And then yesterday, it was Robotics and Environmental Sciences. Today, we look into the future of robotics in the environmental sciences space. So first things first, on Unit 1, I highlighted an awareness of how to use robotics within the environment. How to celebrate the environmental calendar or how to raise awareness using robotics. And then on Learning Unit 2, I used the My 2050 Environmental Calculator and explained how one can interlink those into a robotics challenge as well. And then yesterday, I touched on the World Ocean Day, whereby I mentioned some different challenges that one can use in order to raise awareness. So everything, as you can see, that it's interlinked. So today, I have lots of guests, and it will be very exciting. We'll be talking about the GLOBE program, as well as just recap a bit on the My 2050 calculator, as well as we're still in the World Water Week, so we need to highlight the environmental calendar, as well as we've got another guest who will be talking about the awareness project for climate change, and a guest speaker. So the general class culture here is to equip educators, students, trainers, and facilitators. Please note that we do allow questions, so please use the chat box, and we'll have question and answer in the middle and also at the end of the session. All our recordings are available on the MOOC portal. So if you are not registered yet on the MOOC portal, there's a link there. And then if you're struggling a bit in terms of using the MOOC portal, please email us, and then we'll certainly attend to that. Today, I would like to acknowledge the South African National Space Agency for using their products and for raising awareness with the global program. So there's a global program called a Worldwide Science and Education Program. So this is an international science and education program that provides students and the general public worldwide with the opportunity to participate in data collection and the scientific process that contributes to the meaningful understanding of the Earth system and the global environment. So I'll welcome Siphelele Mutulwani from SANSA to just give us a brief introduction of what the GLOBE program is all about. Siphelele, are you here?
Hi, Dumelo. Yes, I'm here.
All right, thank you so much. Over to you. And by the way, guys, as I mentioned, we're looking into the future of robotics and environmental sciences. In other words, highlighting the importance of technology within the environmental sciences field. So I'll hand over to you, Spear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Tumelo. Hi, everyone. My name is Siphelele Matuleni, an intern at the South African National Space Agency engraved in Cape Town, Hermanus. I will quickly share my screen with you. I have less than 10 minutes to do this presentation for you. So is my screen appearing?
Yes, we can see it on my
Yes.
side.
Okay,
Can start the
perfect.
presentation.
Perfect. So the globe program, ne? So
Sorry, Spear, could you kindly please put it on the slide mode, please? There we go. Thank you.
yeah,
Yes,
it's
we can
gone.
see.
Thank you. So the globe program. So what does the globe program mean? So the word globe here actually stands for global learning, observation to benefit the environment, ne? So how does this thing work? It actually works to build a collaborative worldwide community of students, learners, teachers, scientists, and citizens to conduct the real world research. Ne? So through the data that is collected by these members, that is the students, the learners, the teachers, etc., the researchers gain invaluable insight into the local environments all around the globe and more of the world. And more of the world is able to significantly contribute to the scientific discovery. And then in return, the learners will get to learn more about the science. Ne? So the first slide, how will learners learn about, the learners will learn about science by doing science. Ne? So how will this thing work? Globe students will learn authentic science by collecting accurate data and using the data in their investigation. And then the data that they have collected is going to be used by scientists to generate new knowledge about the Earth. And I will get into more details about that on the following slides. So how does the GLOBE program works? So it works in 4 steps. We have data collection. That is where the learners will get to collect data by carrying out investigations, by asking questions, by using mathematical or computational thinking, etc., etc. After they've collected that data, they're gonna have to record that data down. After recording that data, then they have to enter that data into the GLOBE system or GLOBE app. That is, learners or teachers in the school will have to download a GLOBE app where they are required to do the entry there. And then, yeah, it has all the instruction where to upload what and where. And then that data that they have collected is going to be used by the researchers, by the scientists, to be able to forecast the weather. And data collected by GLOBE students, so they have 4 protocols in GLOBE. Ne? So you can choose if you want to work with clouds, do your research on clouds or on mosquitoes or land covers or trees. And then here at SANSA, we mainly focus on clouds because that is what we've been trained on. So how do these learners collect cloud data? So they actually collected this data by taking pictures of the clouds from the north, the east, the south, and the west, and upload it into the system or app. And then after doing that, they have to describe what type of clouds are forming on the lower level of the sky. And yeah, and some of you might know the different types of clouds. I have put them on the following slides in case some don't know. And then you have to describe what type of clouds are forming on the lower layer of the clouds. And then on the medium layer, you have to describe or name the type of clouds that are forming there. And then on the higher layer of the clouds, you did that for all 4 sides, that is the north, the east, the west, and the north. And then these are the type of clouds. So on the lower level of the sky, we usually have those 4 types of clouds, which is the stratus, the stratocumulus, the cumulus, and cumulonimbus. Ne? And then on the middle part, we usually have those 3 type of clouds. Higher level, we have those type of 3 clouds also. And then the researchers or scientists actually do know which combination of clouds will actually result into rain formation. So from the research that is collected by the learners, the scientists or researchers will be able to predict the weather for the following day. So who can participate on this GLOBE program? Here, anyone can participate in this program. But firstly, they must be trained on how to report data. I've also written a link for you, should you be interested, which is www.globe.gov. So you can actually go into that link and create an account. So you're going to need your email address to create that account, and then they're going to communicate with you via that email address. And then when you're done creating that creating that account on that website, then you download your Globe app onto your phone, and then on your Globe app, you're going to use your same login details, that is your email address and your password, to log in, and then you're going to see everything from there. Yeah. And then SANSA implements GLOBE. So how we at SANSA are planning to implement this GLOBE program. So SANSA Science Engagement Team attended the training with 6 schools that we're planning on working with. That is our local schools. And the training was organized by SASTA, who will be sponsoring schools with the weather stations for school to take part in the GLOBE program. So SASTA will be sponsoring schools with the weather stations, that is the equipment that they will be using to record this data. And the schools have already strategized on how they will include the program to be part of their extra curriculum program. And we as SANSA will be ready to support from the January 23rd by doing a follow-up. And yeah. And so who's behind the GLOBE program? So GLOBE program is sponsored by those 4 companies that you see above. That is the NASA, NSF, the NOAA, and the US Department of State. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Spear, for your presentation. I like the fact that, you're making this practical in such a way that you mentioned that anyone can be involved in this. And I see an element of technology within the environmental sciences. You mentioned your clouds. Kids can learn different types of clouds as well as contribute into research. So I like the fact that they can start, researching from a very young age. And without wasting time, I'll come to questions regarding this presentation. And once again, thank you so much, Spear, for that lovely presentation. So I would also like to acknowledge the Department of Environmental Affairs for using their My 2050 environmental calculator. So the main purpose of this My 2050 calculator, as I mentioned in the previous days, it's to engage the public in the energy and climate change debate. And this is an online-based tool, and this is where it can be accessed. And I've got a representative from the Department of Environmental Affairs. It's Kent. Good morning, Kent.
Morning. Hi, Twillo. Hi, everyone.
How's it?
Very good, thanks.
I'm good, thank you. So I'm loading this. So I would like for you to just take us a bit on this My 2050 calculator and the purpose of it and how can one use it and things like that.
Sure. Could I share my screen actually? Because I have a couple other things to show.
That's lovely. Thank you so much.
Cool. Yeah. And then just, I don't know, maybe I'll try to keep to 10 minutes. I'm not sure how much time I have. But I'm also just pulling up something else. Okay.
All right.
Great. Let me share my screen.
Oh, by the way, you are live from USA, right?
Yes, I'm in the US at the moment.
Okay.
And just a little introduction, I've been working and supporting the Department of Forestry, Fisheries, and Environment for about 7 years in the climate change space. And we've been working on climate change policy and climate change awareness, and also doing a lot of analysis to understand how far can the country go in terms of climate change mitigation, reducing greenhouse gases. So we do a lot of assessment as to what should we do. So we look at all the sectors, the transport, waste, buildings, electricity, what else? Agriculture, forestry, land use, and such. So we put this, and Jamila, you already showed this, so I won't go into too much detail, but we put this awareness tool online for the public to look at, to play around and look at what kind of impact different options would have on the greenhouse gas emissions. So we have a target on the top, and then by selecting certain options in the below, we can estimate how much impact that'll have on the trajectory of the greenhouse gas emissions. So it's in reality, it's what's really happening today with between the Presidential Climate Change Commission and the public and cabinet. We're really trying to look at the pathways to get to the target that we've looked to. So we're doing these kind of analyses with the things. But tomorrow I wanted to also show you another tool that this was based on. So this is more user friendly, right? It's prettier, it's nicer looking and things. And we've tried to simplify it enough, maybe just to make people aware how to use it. But because you have I think the audience can delve a little deeper. That might be too simplistic. There's also this, and I'll send you the link. There's also this estimation tool here, and it goes into more detail into the options to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So this also exists. Yeah, so it works on the same way. You can choose different levels, 1 to 4, and test out how it'll affect on the greenhouse gas emissions, as well as the energy supply, energy demand. And there's a nice tool. The website's a little bit slow, but it shows you a Venn diagram showing how the energy ins and outs of the country look. There's even a downloadable Excel tool to play with also. So that's another option.
Great.
And then, yeah, this is it. I like these kind of schematics because you can see, okay, this is all the coal going in, this is where it's going, and then this is where it's used. So this is the demand side here. So I like these diagrams. Great. And then there's another tool I just wanted to show you. So this is an international tool. It's built based on the same network of, so there's a bunch of countries that have put this together, these tools, and they've also put into an international. So if you wanted an international picture to look at what at the global level, not necessarily a developing country or developed or South Africa or UK or Australia, but this looks at the whole system, and you can play around with the same thing. So in different lifestyle opportunities and different technologies here, the land system, and if we play around with population, what that might look like. So what is the impact on climate change going to be then? This is another tool. So I'll have these 3 links to show you.
All right.
And then,
so are you telling me, so sorry to cut you there, Kent?
Yeah.
So are you telling me that with this one that you're showing me now, I can go and present this to the climate change conference, and specifically indicating that these are current impacts that we are experiencing? Will this work if I was to present this in that conference?
Well, this would show you what internationally the whole world has to do, or what if the whole world did XYZ in the building sector, what it would have impact on the global emissions. So it's
All right.
it's more looking at the very high level. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
But I thought I'd just also touch on just a couple of things to think about, because I think robotics is a very interesting area and it's fast moving and it has a lot of potential to create jobs and create an economy around robotics. So if we integrate it with climate change, just some food for thought, this is just the kind of, if we're focusing on reducing greenhouse gases, these are the kind of things.
Sorry to cut you there, Kent. Your presentation is not on slide mode, eh?
I'm gonna, sure, I'll do that. How's that?
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So to reduce greenhouse gases, the kind of things that we have to do and look at. So if we're developing new technologies or integrating robotics into the climate change activities, the kind of things we have to think about is how do we reduce fuel use or increase efficiency? And that's in like the transport sector. Can we increase the efficiency of trucks, for example, or logistics, and then the whole systems behind that. Fuel switch, can we shift away from fossil fuels? Can we shift away from coal, petrol, diesel? Can we switch to solar power? That's a fuel switch, for example. Biofuels. Carbon sinks, can we enhance the land systems? And especially in agriculture, I think maybe there's use for robotics to be more precise, to be more accurate, to be more efficient in the way we apply pesticides or fertilizers, or how we monitor and collect data. And that's through behavioral and technology changes. So we also at home, we have to change what we do, but we also need technologies to help us move forward. And maybe that's where robotics come in. So there's this cool website I encourage you to look at. I'll also send this link, but the Project Drawdown looks at all these sectors and all the different climate solutions that exist and are very worthwhile for implementing. So this is another option to look at to see what kind of things we can do. And then the last slide is just to pull up some pictures and just to show where robotics is being talked about that I could find. But these are the kind of opportunities that are in agriculture or in the outdoors, or just to increase efficiency and precision can increase efficiency, which reduces the need for use of energy and so these are maybe just some thoughts to put forward. So I have these links. I can send this to you to Mello, but this is my contact information if you need any other assistance. But that's about it.
Thank you so much, Kent. I love how you ended it with robotics and the importance of robotics within the environmental sciences. And with some of the simulations that you showed me, I now get to, have some ideas in terms of, I think I can use some when I go and speak to high profile people in terms of having decisions to make at the end of the day. But we'll come back to you. Let me go to my next presentation. Thank you so much, Kent, once again. All right. So that was your My 2050 environmental calculator. And now I'd like to acknowledge the Wildlife and Environment Society of the Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, which is WESA. These are the people that care for the earth. So I use their environmental calendar. As I explained in the past 3 days, the importance of the environmental calendar is to highlight the importance of our ecosystem. This includes your water, animals, and your plants. And as I've indicated in the past few days, in order for one to celebrate these days, one can use your robotics. And without delaying further, I'll also talk about the month of August. As you can see, in the month of August, these are the days that we celebrate. And when you can look there on the 22nd up until the 26th, it's World Water Week. So here the importance is talking about the importance of water, water conservation, making sure that we use our water in a wise way and ensuring that we pollute less. As you have saw yesterday in my presentation, whereby I showed you the link of me being in Gauteng, my pollution will end up being in the ocean, and the other way around, I'll end up eating that fish. So in some parts of the world, they started celebrating this day from yesterday up until the 1st of September. And I gave you some simple guide for how to keep our oceans clean in order to contribute to the environment as well as celebrate the World Water Week. It's to conserve your water, as I mentioned before, reduce your pollutants, reduce waste, shop wisely. That's when you are now at home. And then when you're around town, it's shopping wisely, reducing your vehicle pollution, using less energy. And now when you're on the water, you fish responsibly. This is for you, Casper. You practice safe boating, respect habitat, as well as the 10th one, which is there at the bottom, it's volunteering. So now, in terms of volunteering, I would like to go to the slide and just to talk about this one. I don't know whether it's in Kantla here.
Good day, Tumelo. Yes, I am here.
So yes, the 10th point of that previous slide was saying volunteering, and I see this, and this week I've been talking about this. Could you just touch a bit about that? Thank you.
Okay, good day, everyone. Nhlanhla speaking here from Brainwaves Development. Just to give a little light on what we do as Brainwaves. Brainwaves Development is a non-profitable organization. We focus on educational initiatives that are conducted in service for mainly public schools that are in less privileged areas. And by doing this, our aim is to spread the knowledge and excitement in these kids about the field of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So we have created this climate change initiative just to create awareness in the Hammanskraal areas. And when Tumelo asked me to share some thoughts, I immediately was convicted by the Water Week. And I decided that I'm actually going to share with the Hammanskraal area how they can purify water using day-to-day utensils that are available to them at their disposal. So I have noted a few ways that they can actually purify their own water. The easiest way being bottling the water and uh, on the sun so that a few chemicals can now be dispersed out of the water and the water can be drinkable. I have decided to speak about this because I've noticed a lot of discoloration on the teeth of most of these kids that we deal with, and that is mainly caused by dirty water that is not properly purified. And this is a big thing to them because sometimes these kids, we work with programs where they have to speak. We have speech festivals and stuff like that. So these kids sometimes they are shy to speak because of how their mouths look, you know. So I have decided that I'm gonna bring up this ways that they can use and other few ways that they can use to actually help themselves because this is their health at the end of the day, is that they can also use bleach. You can add like two tablespoons of bleach to every 5 liters of water. That will help also kill the chemicals that are in the water. The water contains a few chemicals that are toxic, which is your fluoride and other acids that don't react well to the teeth. And I believe that creating this awareness will show these kids how they can actually make their lives better and actually make their environments better, because as an organization, our aim is to bring up young scientists that will be able to identify problems in their communities and actually generate solutions that are conducive and that can help the whole community to become a better community. So not to be long, because I see that time is not on our side. Basically, yeah, that's some of what I have prepared, and I would love everyone who is available to join our initiative just to create awareness and come up with solutions that can help these disadvantaged areas.
All right. Thank you so much, Nhlanhla. I love the fact that you're starting from where you are, which is in your community. And I also love the fact that you are including everyone with this. So are you also telling me that am I also welcomed with my ocean map, with my robotics, whereby I highlight the importance of technology within the environmental sciences?
Definitely, Tumelo, you are very welcome. And that's a great initiative because we are focusing on STEM, which is basically your science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So this is a very great contribution. It would be a great contribution if you would be available to actually showcase some of the things that you actually do.
Thank you so much once again, Nhlanhla.
Thank you very much, Tumelo, for this opportunity.
If people would like to reach out to you, these are your details, right?
Yes,
or
those are our
I said, and then we can forward them.
Yes, they can contact us on those details. We are also on Instagram and Facebook under the Brainwaves Development.
All right, cool. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Tumelo.
Now I've got a climate change guest speaker. Her name is Michelle Maka, is a Zimbabwean born. She's currently in Cape Town and she's a UNISA student. She's doing her BSc Computer Science and Applied Mathematics. She's a public speaker, she's an activist. She spreads the word about climate crisis and related social issues among the youth. She's a programs coordinator for the African Climate Alliance, a youth-led grassroots movement-based organization acting and advocating for Afrocentric climate justice. Michelle strives to make education accessible to young people who want to learn about socio-environmental issues. Her work mainly addresses the climate literacy issues that exist in South Africa and changing the narrative around ideas of sustainability, decolonization, and environmentalism that have been pushed by mainstream media. She feels that people, especially those in purposefully ignored, underprivileged communities, should have the same access to information about environmental conservation. She firmly supports aiming the youth with knowledge and tools to decolonize spaces, as this is a critical subject because the youth can be and are a powerful voice that could be installed or that could install change in those sectors that they interact with. So I don't know whether we've got, she's live now. Michelle, thank you so much. As I don't know whether you guys were there on Monday when I was talking about our ladies, the way the ladies who have invented things, because as I've touched on the August environmental calendar, on the 9th of August, it's Women's Day. So this is still a Women's Month, and I'm glad that we have a woman, a young lady, who's contributing magnificently when it comes to climate change. Michelle, over to you. What can you say to us?
Thank you, Tumelo. I am so honored to be here. That is my face. I still look the same in real life, but here I am. I am really just so honored to be here, and unfortunately, I did not prepare any presentation, but I will have some links to share. So the context of my work is directed at youth. I work in youth spaces. I am currently working for 3 nonprofit organizations. One is the African Climate Alliance. The second is called Hidden Halos. And the third is called Fossil Free South Africa. The African Climate Alliance and Fossil Free South Africa are big actors in the climate justice space. And apart from work, I'm trying to see ways that I can include computer science, as that is my major, computer science and applied mathematics, and somehow rope it into the work that I'm currently practicing in the environmental space. And one thing that we realized, or I realized in the work, is that the knowledge was not accessible for a lot of people. So I was privileged enough to be able to go through and study computer science because I was exposed to computers at a very young age. I remember taking apart my father's technology because I just wanted to see what was inside. And yes, it did annoy him because I then could not put it back in, but my curiosity was sparked at a very early age, and I think that's what helped me. But through working in the space and through working with young people, be it in the educational aspect of things, just like pure education, or be it in the environmental space, it's very evident for me that a lot of people are not exposed to the same sort of, I don't want to call them opportunities, but the same sort of environments. And so even when these same children move from being high schoolers, for instance, and they're pursuing careers, a lot of the times they're not choosing any career in the STEM field. Why? Because they've been led to believe that they can't do it. B, because they may feel like they can't participate meaningfully, or they don't have access to resources. There's just a lot of things that play to it. So one of my roles in all 3 of these spaces, but specifically Hidden Halos and the African Climate Alliance, is to help young people realize that they can do it. And I'm very, very open about my academic journey. I think I was pretty much, like 1 foot in average and 1 foot not so average, like just a little bit over average. But in some schools, you would see that you're a lot of the times discouraged to take science as a career path. But for me, it was a different story. I was very much encouraged. And this is a story I'll tell everybody. Tumelo was telling me yesterday that he discovered my YouTube channel, where I tell people that my first year in university, I was sitting with a 9% for a math exam. And that was very difficult for me to deal with, being somebody who had been quote unquote smart in high school. And so I think that whole experience just helped me see that it's not about what you get there, and it's more about the work that you put in. So that's, I guess, sort of like the context of my work. The bulk of my work, because I do work for the African Climate Alliance full-time, is ensuring that climate literacy is accessible in whatever way that we can. So we hold educational workshops around climate-related issues at least once a month. We call them Back to Basics workshops, followed by what we call ACA dialogues. So the Back to Basics workshops, we could be, dealing with something called what is climate change? And then we saw that the more effective way to discuss things around the environment were to point at things that were observed and less about the terminology. Because a lot of the times academics will understand what climate change is, but someone who's on the street who's never heard it before, you can't say care about climate change. They will not. And so we found that really just discussing what we are observing, what we've been experiencing. Quite recently, it's very unfortunate what's happened in the KZN in the Eastern Cape. But, drawing from those events and then saying part of the reason that this is happening is climate change. Now, how do we create solutions, right? And so through conversation like that, you really just grow to learn that so many people have these solutions they have, but they might not have resources to enact them. So I heard earlier on one presenter was talking about mitigation measures. We focus a little bit more on the adaptation aspect of things because we do realize that a lot is happening around mitigation, but not enough is happening around adaptation, especially when you look, again, in a South African context in townships, and how are we ensuring that the vast majority are adaptable to the effects of climate change. So things like food gardens, where with food gardens, you can actually incubate in one way or another your plants. So if you have like aquaponics, for instance. I saw it. I think I was just getting into the meeting and there was like a video about aquaponics, and I was so excited because I know somebody who is trying to integrate technology, hydroponics and aquaponics, to make sure that, you know, technology is integrated in one way or another in the conversation, and that's very exciting. But that also speaks to adaptation and allowing people to be able to develop their own solutions, and only maybe provide more of like a support role, because what's happened in the past is that a lot of the times people have been given solutions and they haven't quite worked for them. And so we realized that us just being facilitators much helps the process, because a person is comfortable with knowing that they support if they need it. So they can ask for support, but you're not going there talking about, I can save the world, right? And so that's sort of what we are focusing on. So education as well as adaptation. And with Hidden Halos, the conversation now is more around how do we, so we are trying to make education accessible. So when I'm not an environmentalist, I'm a science and maths teacher. So science in terms of computer science, ICT, physics, biology, I mean, you name it. That's what I sort of do. And so it's been very interesting trying to develop something that services both worlds, because I do believe in both, like the best of both worlds. And I believe that there's something for me in the middle. Like I will not choose between pursuing environmentalism or technology. So that is a little bit about me and what we do. And I think just one thing that I might just share is for young people who might want to get involved, this, share my screen. Can we see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Cool. This is the African Climate Alliance website. We're a youth-led grassroots organization advocating and acting for Afrocentric climate justice. And these are very young kids. I think she's in primary school. She's now in high school. This was taken about 3 years ago when she was in primary school. But we're sort of like a hub for activism and allowing people to fall into the power that we know they already have. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to see what the space offers for environmentalism as well as technology. And thanks for the invite, Tumelo.
Sure. Thank you so much, Michelle. So I'm part of UNISA Science Engagement Center. So what we normally do, we go to 9 provinces of South Africa, and we go to even the deep rural areas whereby we teach kids robotics. So now we don't only stick to robotics, we also highlight the importance of climate change as well. So here with me, I've got an EV3 robot, as you can see. And for those of you who are in my sessions from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, yesterday, yes. So we use these kind of robots. And now we implement what we talk about. So these are your plastic bottles, leads. So these leads, what we do with them, as you saw in my previous presentations, we use these leads to create missions whereby after teaching kids how to build a robot, the basic type of a robot, we teach them how to program it. Now, after programming it, now we found a way. In fact, we have realized that it's easier for us to plant another seed. So we realized that how about we plant a seed of raising the awareness of climate change as well into this. So for those of you who would like to see more of our work, I would certainly encourage you to go to our YouTube, Facebook, as well as some of our sessions that we've been hosting to see the work that we do. You can follow us on iSet Lego on Facebook just to see the latest updates. Lots of content is coming there. And then on YouTube, like I said, please subscribe so you get updated of our current videos that we have recently uploaded. And that's our email address, by the way. So if you have any questions regarding today's session or like to participate, you've got more ideas, please use that email address. And interesting stuff. We've got what we call ISET Robotics and Environmental Sciences MOOC. Here we will be covering most of the things that we highlighted in these 4 units that we spoke about, where we talk about the importance of technology within the environmental sciences field. I think this is it for now. I'll open for questions and an answer session based on our 4 presentations. By the way, I would like to thank, as per the representative from SANSA, as well as Kent, the representative from Department of Environmental Affairs, as well as Ntlantla from Brainwaves, and Michelle from Africa Climate Change Youth Activism. Any other questions or any questions based on today's presentation? I know it was scratched in a bit, but yes, this is what I had for today. Any questions? No questions. Any questions from the chat box?
Tumelo, you do need to make an announcement though.
An announcement of the MOOC.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay. So because MOOCs run from January to November, we decided to say, how about we go live on our ISET Robotics and Environmental Sciences MOOC on Monday. So we'd like to get feedback from our fellow presenters, and even you who's watching this, you are welcome to, participate in this MOOC because it's a pilot run. Would like to get your inputs regarding this MOOC, and yes, and then it will be officially launched next year, February. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Gous, for that. Any other question? Any other question based on the presentations? I don't know whether can I ask Michelle this question, since you've got lots of experience in this field of, being a climate activist and the likes. Do you think we're going the right direction with us starting with robotics and then including environmental sciences?
100%. Oh my goodness. You've opened a can of worms here. But I'm just going to try to give it on. I 100% think that, yeah, I mean, how can I not? Look, I'm passionate about technology, but I'm also passionate about ensuring that environmentalism is as inclusive as it should be, and that justice is served. And I think that the more people, young people specifically, are exposed to robotics, they are exposed to problem solving at a very, very young age. That means when they are much older, they're able to develop the solutions that are needed to suit the problems that they'll be solving. So without really just getting so excited and taking another hour of people's time, I definitely think that this is the right direction. I also think that it allows, I mean, look, in a country like South Africa, where we are battling with unemployment and other issues, you find that if you expose kids to alternatives to the traditional modes of learning, your chances of them succeeding are much higher. We see this even with the work that we do in schools or in the educational space, where we allow for it to be a facilitated space as an alternative way of learning to the traditional model, and that allows people to succeed much better. So like the integration of robotics and environmental sciences is 100% like one of the solutions that we definitely need. And like there's no one way to solve you know, the problem of like climate change. So this is definitely like, yeah.
A very big thank you. And Kent, I've got a question for you. In fact, this is a bit of clarity. The last time I checked, you mentioned that here at UNISA Science Engagement Center, we make use of the My 2050 calculator more. Is it true?
Yeah, I think it's a useful tool to think about. You know, for me, why I think the power of it is to look at the systems, to look at how things interact, and that there's no silver bullet. So as Michelle says, I mean, even adaptation is really, it's more important than mitigation. It is. It just happens that we're focusing on mitigation. But you can bring those discussions into this also, because we're looking at where do we want to be in 2050 as a country. And it's about developmental issues. It's about how do we provide electricity security, but how do we reduce energy poverty? How do we increase democracy around energy and those kind of discussions? So can we do that with coal power stations? Probably not. Can we do it with the nuclear power stations? Probably not. But those are discussions to have. I think renewables are a nice way to look into the future. So I think it brings into a lot of discussions as to a broader society. So it can connect us into more of a community rather than just looking at, oh, what can I do at home? I can recycle more and such. But that's important, but we have to think of the bigger society. So maybe just to open up minds and discussions like that, if you can look at it like that.
Right. Thank you. Just last question, Kent. I saw you in that presentation of yours where you included the global calculator. As I indicated, I said, for example, if I was to go to the conference for climate change, would that make sense if I was to address that to world presidents, your ministers, your decision makers? Is that a real-time calculator, or is not yet updated? Things like that.
You know, it's the same for all these calculators. They're not always as current. So I don't think the global calculator has been updated recently, but it's indicative. So it's more of an analysis tool to know that should we spend, if we have all our effort, should we spend all of it on buildings, or should we spend it in electricity, or should we spend it on agriculture? So I think that's maybe more for analytical purposes. But I think what you get out of it, your insight and your analysis, that you could bring to the conference and say, we've used this tool, this is the evidence, and this is what we propose.
Nice. Thank you so much, Kent. Let me go to Ntlantla from Brainwaves. Why did you choose climate change? I mean, you could have chosen other things. Why did you name your expo or your run climate change expo or awareness campaign?
We named it the Climate Change Awareness Campaign because the world is changing, Tumelo, and we are not changing. So what we are trying to do here is trying to get people to change and adapt to get the world to recover a bit, you know, because as I saw on some presentations, they were talking about CO2 emissions and other gases that are being dispersed on the earth that are actually damaging the earth. So getting the knowledge out there helps reduce some of these issues that we can't tackle on the ground, you know.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Ntlantla. Last but not least, Spare with the global program. Once again, thank you so much for that program. So I saw that you said anyone can use this program, and I saw that it touches a lot of geography within it. So my question is, can a teacher or anyone who's watching this perhaps use it during their spare time at school or after school hours, or perhaps even include it within their studies or subject-related matters?
Hi, Tumelo. Thank you for the question. So yeah, absolutely. Teachers are more than welcome to use the Globe program. Yeah, even the people it's for everyone, as I've mentioned before. It is basically for everyone, schools, teachers, community, students, everyone is more than welcome to use it.
You know, I like the fact that a student gets to collect data and then upload it. So this
Yeah.
is an element of you guys, or basically the purpose of this, encouraging kids to be technologically savvy as well as environmentally savvy at the same time. Also enhancing the skills of research.
Yeah, and also being able to connect scientists with students, have
Wonderful.
them be productive and, helpful
Wonderful.
in weather discovery.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really appreciate this from you, Spey, and your team. Once again, if we don't have any other questions, wait, do we have any other questions related to today's presentation before I close this? Any questions? I see there's no questions yet. Please, if you do have any questions or if you have any suggestions, kindly please email us at i-set@unisa.ac.za and look out for our new MOOC called Robotics and Environmental Sciences, which will be live on Monday. Without wasting time, I'd like to thank our online guests, our online participants, as well as those that will be watching the recording. A big thumbs up. Really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this. Otherwise, it's thank you from us, the UNISA Science Engagement Center team. Thank you once again.
Thank you, team.